The United Nations rejected warnings from the U.S. and Israel and voted to include the Palestinians in Interpol, the international police agency. The vote came at a UN General Assembly meeting in Beijing and passed 75 to 24 with 34 abstentions. Both Washington and Jerusalem are concerned that the move could put key intelligence in the wrong hands and that the Palestinians could use Interpol to pursue criminal charges against Israelis. The U.S. has also argued that Palestine shouldn't be in Interpol because it's not a state. One Israeli academic tweeted that admitting Palestine to Interpol is like admitting Al Capone to the Chicago police. Just one day before the Interpol decision, a Palestinian terrorist killed 3 Israelis and wounded a 4th. I talked with residents at the scene of the attack, the security fence of the Jewish community of Har Adar outside of Jerusalem. Here's what they told me.
About 7 o'clock I heard a series of gunshots, and then I heard ambulances and then helicopters, so I knew something was up.
That something was 37-year-old Nimr Mahmoud Ahmad Jamal, a Palestinian from nearby Beit Zurich, shooting 4 security personnel.
That individual took advantage of the fact that he had a work permit, approached the security guards, worked on his own, opened fire using a 9mm weapon and killed those 3 individuals.
Behind me is the security gate of Har Adar, and beyond that, the Arab village of Beit Zurich. Every day, up to 300 to 400 Palestinians cross this gate into Har Adar to work in the homes and other places here.
He knew the area very well. If he had made his way inside the Jewish community, he could have reached the school, which is 450 meters from where we are. But our security officers and border police responded this morning, preventing that terrorist from making his way inside the Jewish community and therefore preventing a much larger terrorist attack from unfolding.
Jewish Israeli residents of Har Adar were shocked.
As a mother, when you have a call from your son, 11-year-old son, and he's calling you in the morning telling you, Mom, there is an attacker in Har Adar, so it's the nightmare for every person.
The relations with the people here have been very peaceful. A few hundred work inside of Har Adar every day.
Har Adar resident Steve Leibowitz said now things will have to change.
I've lived here for 17 years and I don't remember really anything that made me feel uneasy. It's like a piece of Long Island out here, you know. I think we're going to have to wake up to a new reality. We're going to have to be aware that security is an issue for us.
Har Adar resident and council member Anat Kanafo said the problem is they don't know who to trust.
We are trying to be very brave to bring them here. But you see what they're doing. They're betrayed. It's a matter of time till you have the knife in your back. We know it, unfortunately. And it's not all of them. I have a Muhammad, one person is working in my house for 12 years.
Within hours, Palestinian laborers who were working in Har Adar were escorted out of the community. In addition to the terror victims and their families, Kanafo and Leibowitz said it's the Palestinians themselves who will suffer the most.
They've been working inside our community, making a good living, and having good relations with the people of Har Adar for the last 30 years. And this is a kind of incident that will cut them off from their daily bread.
As we heard, the terror attack is bound to have a negative impact on Palestinian workers. So what motivated the attacker? They call it pay for slay. Take a look. Nimr al-Jamal was on his way from Beit Zurich, where he lived, to the neighboring Jewish community of Har Adar, where he worked. He opened fire on security personnel at the crossing gate, killing 3 Israelis and critically wounding a 4th. Har Adar residents were shocked.
They have all the rights like the Israelis, and they betrayed big time.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Palestinian incitement in the media, school books, and society are to blame. Following the attack, Netanyahu called on Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to condemn the attack. Instead, Abbas's Fatah organization glorified the terrorist and said the mourning was scented with the fragrance of martyrs.
The Palestinian Authority, through Fatah, is telling its people that what was done was a religiously positive act, killing Israelis is a religiously positive act, and this, of course, is the worst message you can give in a religious society like the Palestinian Authority.
Palestinian Media Watch director Itamar Marcus says Palestinian Authority blame doesn't stop there.
So the first thing that happens is the family receives honor, and this is critical. The honor that the family receives, every potential terrorist sees this as well.
That honor includes public praise and sometimes even naming schools, public squares, and sporting events after terrorists.
And the second thing that happens is financial rewards. In this case, the wife and children of the terrorist who murdered yesterday will be receiving 2,600 shekel, about $800 a month for life.
Marcus said Israel could crack down on entire villages, revoking work permits into Israel. That would increase peer pressure not to carry out attacks. But the West could also play a role, he said.
The only way this will stop is if the leadership of the Palestinian Authority is forced by the international community to completely change the messaging. The international community can force them. The Palestinian Authority is so dependent on foreign aid. The United States gives them foreign aid. The European Union gives them foreign aid. Most of the Western European countries give them. They have the power to stop this.
Meanwhile, the 3 men who were killed, including an Israeli Arab, are being hailed as the real heroes. They stopped the terrorist from entering Har Adar and killing civilians.